Last but not least, we have Oskar Pernefeldt, President of International Flag of Planet Earth org, also inside the Next Gen Design project. Oskar, please.
Everyone hear me? Is my mic on? That's good, thank you. Yes, so like everyone else, I will have like a, sorry about that. I will have 20 minutes presentation, 5-10 minutes for questions, so save those if you want to ask them later. Yes, so a little bit of a history. 1969, great year for history, I would say. We landed on the moon. The Eagle has landed. Actually, the first humans to be there, and they decided to place a flag on there. And of course, we can understand this. We have read about the Cold War in school, and this was a part of the space race between the Soviets and the US. A huge symbolic deal to place the US flag there. And this isn't uncommon, of course. We've had flags in space since forever. It's always been a space race. And it also comes from a long, long tradition of showing where we're coming from. The ships we used to travel just travels in space now. So I just think it's weird when you land on the moon, you look back at the blue planet and you say, I come from there, I come from the US. I think that's weird. And also from Russia or China, I just think it's a weird perspective. I understand it politically, of course, and symbolically, of course. But this was the reason why I designed a proposal called the International Flag of Planet Earth, which is suggested to be the flag of our planet. And I'm also the president of the organization who advocates for Earth to have its own flag. Looks like this. I don't know if you've seen it, but it looks like this, and I'm a huge flag nerd. I'm a vexillologist. It's a study, a tutor, like a student of flags. So of course, it upfills all regulations if you care about regulations in the flag world, which I do. So it is ready to be adopted as a flag by any institution or country or whatever. To actually be flown as the flag of the planet Earth. We could also talk about why it looks, why it's blue, why it has 7 rings. But I feel like this presentation is more important to talk about the idea of the flag rather than the design of the flag. I understand that that's weird on a design week. But so this is an important question. So why is it important for Earth to have a flag? And I see there's 2 reasons for Earth to have a flag. One of them is coming from a very rational, unemotional perspective, from seeing it as flags in a part of a flag system. So let's say we see it like this. Los Angeles has a flag. Los Angeles is a city within California, which also has a flag. And that's the state of the US, which also has a flag. And the US is a part of the UN, or like the Olympic Committee, or NATO, or G7, or whatever. And that's also just a multilateral organization placed here on Earth. And if you see one level above that, I see in a flag system perspective that it's fitting to have a flag for planet Earth, or Mars, for that matter. So let's imagine Mars having its own flag. Let's say in 100 years when we've colonized Mars, does it have its own flag or the Earth flag on Mars? That's a completely other discussion, but it's an interesting one. And then when those 2 planets have flags, they, as an alliance, should probably have a joint flag. So this is what I spend my time thinking about. I bet you don't. But of course, the second reason is when this was launched, it was launched in a time where the climate crisis was just ravaging. Polarization in the world, politically and socially, just grew bigger and bigger. We can see that now a lot with the US election going on. And of course, lots of conflicts leading to migrants fleeing over borders, and the need for a global solidarity is needed. And this flag kind of works as a reminder that we share this planet, and we also share its challenges and also its possibilities. And it's meant to give people a shift of perspective, to give an overview effect of, as the astronauts do, when they go away from Earth, they see that the planet doesn't really have any borders. We're just here together on this huge spaceship floating through space. And we usually say that this flag won't solve the climate crisis, but it will inspire the people who does. So when I launched this, I got image rights from NASA to take a bunch of images and show the flag in its right context to inspire people, because flags and the flag community isn't really that good at showing the flags in a specific context. It's usually just like rectangular JPEGs, which isn't really inspiring or not really telling the story of the flag. I did this together with a retouch agency called BSmart, and we spent hours and hours and hours, more likely days and days and days, to do these images. Now they could be made in AI, but let's not talk about that. And I launched these images, and when I did so, it just blew up overnight. It was crazy. For me, as just at that time, a young designer, it was a mind-blowing experience when being hunted down by journalists from the Washington Post, the New York Times, and Le Monde, and being in TV and everything. That was an experience. But I also thought it was very fun that the flag reached a lot of special people as well. On a side note, a guilty pleasure of mine is conspiracy theories. I find them interesting. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I find them interesting. And being the center of a conspiracy theory is very interesting. Let me show you the next slide. Some volume.
Unfurling of the international flag of Earth. This has come by way of the provisions, the blessings, the promotions of the World Parliament. And the World Parliament is fast becoming known as the United Earth Parliament. This is not a branch of the United Nations. It's designed and intended to one day replace the United Nations. They've already passed a series of laws, legislative acts. They're not binding right now, but in the anticipation that they do become legal, these laws will go into effect. The best way to read about it is to go to our website at therevelationfile.com, and we have a tab across the top called One World Index.
Let me skip to this golden part of their film, which goes on for minutes and minutes and minutes, when these two guys unfold the flag. They're ministers of a church somewhere in the US. I just love this. Isn't this crazy? Imagine designing something and someone is saying that it's designed by the World Parliament, and we've gotten laws into action. We have a Pledge of Allegiance, and it's supposed to replace the US flag. It isn't. It really isn't. This is also interesting.
Has been supporting a design that may replace the American flag during space travel. The new flag, called the International Flag of the Planet Earth, is expected to represent Earth as a whole, segmented only to the United States. This is New World Order. This is a sign of the times. This is a mark of the beast system. According to the International Flag of the Planet Earth's official website, the new flag is intended to represent Earth as a whole, to remind the people of Earth that we share this planet, no matter of national boundaries. Oh my gosh, this is so antichrist. It's so antichrist. This is so antichrist. It's not even funny.
I love it. I love that she goes from remind the people of Earth that we share this planet and we should take care of each other, and then that's so antichrist. I love. I didn't study that in school. That was the way of Christ. But this is the amazing part, of course. It's reached millions around the world. The organization, I think we're up to like 7 tattoos that people have sent in of the flag being tattooed on different parts of different bodies. And we see it on climate marches, we see it on migrant boats in the Mediterranean, see it on international conferences, pretty much like this one, but even more around the world. And this is, of course, very humbling. It's amazing to have designed something that touches people in this way. And in 2020, I decided, together with my sister, to create a nonprofit around the flag, to become its advocate for Earth to actually have a flag. And our mission is to make this flag more recognized and utilized as the flag of planet Earth. Pretty simple. And this is quite important to say, given the movies we just saw. We don't have any political affiliation, and we don't have any religious views backing up this flag. And it's interesting, even though I say we don't have anything, we pretty much have everything, because it stands for everything. It stands for communism, it stands for capitalism, it stands for Islam, it stands for Christianity, it stands for everything we have here on planet Earth. So we're all a part of this proposal. And now we are 7 people working in the organization, and we have some volunteers spread around the world, which is really cool. And we're all working in different ways on getting the flag getting more spotlight on the flag, basically. So, how would this flag actually become the official flag of planet Earth? We are mimicking the strategy of another flag that was proposed back in the 70s, and now everyone sees as an official flag of a movement. So the rainbow flag, when that was presented in 1978, Gilbert Baker, who lived in San Francisco, he wasn't a big fan of the symbol that was currently used by the LGBTQ+ community, which was the pink triangle. And I can guess that you know that this comes from the concentration camps, a symbol that was sewn on upon their prison clothes. So Gilbert Baker wanted to load this movement and symbol with a new meaning. So he came up with the rainbow flag, owning its own movement, basically. And now this image is taken in 1977. We know that because it says so. And back then, the movement didn't really, other than the pink triangle, it wasn't really visible. It wasn't really branded in a way. But now when we see pride parades all over the world, it's very much under this color code and under this flag and banner, which is very inspiring for us as an organization. So this is a question of how did they get there? This is something we study a lot. And of course, it's pretty easy. You could make a complex answer, but you could also do a simple answer. But it is basically people using the flag. Institutions, businesses, people just flying the flag proudly and supporting the movement. And I guess it becomes more and more official the more it's being used. And then stuff like becoming an emoji in 2016, which I, from a flag perspective, think is very interesting. What is an authority today to say a flag is official or not? Unicode is a pretty big one. So this is something we mimic as a strategy to get our flag more acknowledged. So if they have Pride Week like this, and this is what we see around the world, we envision Earth Day on April 22nd to look pretty much like this. But how do we do that? So the organization is formed pretty much as an awareness agency. A lot of the people in the organization, including myself, work in the advertising field. So we have formed the organization a lot like an advertising agency. And we have different focus areas. One being cultural integration, which we call a periphery game, to get the flag into people's periphery. And by that, making it more and more, working its way into becoming an official symbol. Community adoption is a more bureaucratical way of getting more acknowledged by institutions, cities, companies, people, but even countries. And then we can say awareness creation, which is the output of the awareness agency. That's a social media strategy, working together with influencers, doing brand collabs, for instance. So cultural integration could be like this. In 2019, we were a part of an award-winning game Observation, where it's about a space station being left, and it's very mysterious, and the player needs to solve this quest on what happened to this space station. And here, it's a good example of the periphery game, because the flag is only used on the space station as a thing. You know, it's a space station manned by humans, so they just have the flag there. It's not commented, it's not the hero of the game, it's just there, which is pretty good. We also really need to work with big brand collabs. Like, these are only mock-ups, but this is what we have presented to Lego, as it would be cool to be a part of their space range to inspire kids of using this flag and the global solidarity parts. It would be amazing if a brand like Nike could do a brand identity or like more like a team identity for planet Earth. This is something we have as on our vision board, having an actual space agency to use the flag. And this is tricky, going back to my first slides of the politics of space agencies, and of course how linked they are to a nation's identity. But we think we could get there. And of course, getting the acknowledgement from countries would be amazing as well. This is just mock-ups of actually doing something with countries like Kiribati, which is one of the countries that are going to be the most affected by the climate crisis. Having them acknowledging the flag would really mean something. This is MIT using the flag in the most unemotional way possible, but in a very relevant way. So this is their Institute for Macroeconomics, and they show like export data, trading data in general, under different flags. So how they visual the global stats is under this flag. And it makes sense. It's not emotional at all. It's not something that would make someone cry and relate to. It's just a symbol that describes Earth and worldwide stats in this case. And then hopefully one day we will get there. But I need your help in to get there. But the flag needs to be used more. It needs to be out there more. So whatever you could do to spread the word about this would only help the flag to gain its official status. So, yeah, that's that. Preguntas?
Thank you. Questions for Oskar? Here, first one.
Oskar, congratulations, very inspiring. I think that one of the things that personally inspired most is the fact that you start with the graphic design, so that has a highly symbolic value. And starting from that point, you move to different kind of actions to make the world more aware, let's say create more awareness about the global challenge that we are facing now.
Yeah.
So I think that my question is that Do you ever think that considering cinema, just like one of the most channel of communication and promotion of the collective imaginary of all the people worldwide, have you ever thought to use this kind of media to spread out a little bit more?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's a part of the cultural integration strategy of actually getting it out in popular culture. And that's just like going into movies is a big thing for us, given that we need to then talk to like set designers and stylists or whatever to get it into like space movies or environmental movies or whatever movies. So it's every rabbit hole we could go into when it comes to popular culture. It's such a big job. We need to be more people. But we've had those meetings with like production, set designers and stuff like that. But it just needs to be the right moment. I work in advertising. I know like it's not always the perfect moment to use a flag like this. We can't really force it in there. It needs to be relevant. So the only thing we could do is to drive awareness around the flag, and whenever someone is creating something, a game or a film or whatever, they know, oh, we should probably use that. That would be good for the flag or for the earth, or just it makes sense to have it in the film. Yeah. Someone else?
Okay. More questions?
There's one.
Another one there.
She was hesitating.
Hi, thank you. I think this is quite brilliant. I'm so glad I got to see this presentation. I wanted to ask you, it's a sort of a strange question. I looked at your Instagram, and you have 871 followers.
Yeah.
But it seems that you have a massive global movement.
Yeah.
Is that because...
Just started the Instagram.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So that's the reason. Yeah, that's true. We only have 800 followers on our Instagram. Started 3 weeks ago.
Okay. So I guess I wanted to ask you,
Yeah.
is there another way you've been promoting or discussing your project that's not Instagram that would be better to engage with, or that you're seeing so much more engagement on?
Say the last words again.
Are you seeing much more engagement in some other form of social media?
No, we've seen it a lot on social media. The tricky thing has only been having the social media strategy to serve the momentum in the right way. So that's been tricky for us, and we don't really have the manpower to run the social media in a good way. Now we sorted that out with some more help, but we need more help, of course. But I've been involved in more bureaucratical contexts of the flag to get it more acknowledged by cities and companies and that kind of stuff. But it's hard to, it says here that I'm a creative director at Oatly. That's my day job. I do this on the other hours of the day.
Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks. There's a question.
Micro? Micro? No se oye.
I'm just wondering, why don't you create kind of a mascot?
Say again.
Why you don't create a kind of character, a mascot that represents the flag, and you animate the story, and that can be very entertainment. And in the same time, you connect the flag to spread culture and meaning about the importance to overcome the barriers.
Yeah.
But in my experience of comics author, I see that when you put just, fun also, stories, fantasy, storytelling, I think it's very engaging. So that's more than a question, is kind of, I don't know, an inspiration maybe.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I guess there's a lot of creative executions you could do around this. Having a mascot is one of them, of course. But it's, we need to have all of those on the table, and given the few people that we are and how much energy in our energy budget we have and time budget, we need to decide on which fits the best. From from the time when we started the organization, the focus has been more on getting it into schools, getting it into cities and municipalities and institutions. So that's been more of it. We've been taking a more bureaucratical approach, and on the side, having the meetings like Alessandro was talking about, with getting it into popular culture, having meetings with influencers, that kind of stuff, to get it out into like the cyber world, or like the like you mentioned up there, getting out in social media, but not from ourselves, more from people, promoting the flag.
Yeah,
but the mascot is one way to go.
I think the important is just to have a very strong message.
Yeah.
I think whatever you are creating is a vehicle. I think the flag is a vehicle in itself for a strong message. So I think it's very important to focus, which is the value and the message behind of that. Maybe one message, very important. I don't know, that's my idea.
Yeah, good. There is a question.
Hello, Oskar. Thank you for your very uplifting and great presentation. That was very nice. I have a very practical question. If I want to use this world flag, what can I do? Is there a website where I can download a style guide, or where can I
You can go into that website, and we've released the flag, so it's free. It's everyone can use it for private and commercial use. We are not making money out of the usage of flag from others, so you could just download the pack, and you will get it in vector or JPEG and PNG or whatever you want.
That's great. And you don't fear any misusage?
You know, it's interesting. As long as the flag represents Earth, we are fine with it. So everyone could use it if it represents Earth. We will only contact someone and make them stop using it if they say that this is the logo of my battery company, you know, or whatever company. Then it's just like, no, this is the symbol of Earth, not a battery company. So we have the terms of use, and it is completely free, and people can use the flag as much as they want, as long as it represents Earth. That's the only terms of conditions. So go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I will watch this story.
Cool. There's a question.
Last one.
Fun.
Hi, Oskar. I'm curious, have you been influenced by, excuse me,
A little bit higher, sorry.
Oh, have you been influenced by Carl Sagan, The Pale Blue Dot, or Frank White's
Yes.
The Overview Effect? I guess two questions.
Yes.
One, how has that influenced you? And two, you've mentioned a couple of times very emphatically that you don't want kind of an emotional investment in the flag. And I find that quite curious, given that that's what flags generally do. They're kind of vectors of a lot of emotion. And also that kind of was the vehicle for the success of the Pale Blue Dot, and also precisely the experience of the astronaut when over the Earth, having this very emotional effect of seeing the Earth from 6 billion kilometers away on Voyager 1. Could you talk about that a little bit, and the influence of Sagan and Frank White and the role of emotion?
Yeah, absolutely. The reason why I love flags is that they bring out a lot of emotions, but if you take a step back, they are just a symbol. They're basically a logotype for something. So I mean that this flag, like any other flag, has a rational side to it, where it's just a part of a flag system. It just represents Portugal or whatever. Or the Swedish flag, for instance, has been hijacked by a lot of neo-Nazis, for instance. But it still represents the democracy of Sweden, which I love because I'm a Swede. But it also is something that they have hijacked, and it's very loaded now, that schools don't want to use the Swedish flags anymore on graduation days because it's become such a nationalist symbol. But it's still only the symbol of the sovereign states of Sweden, you know? So I think that was the reason why I went into, there's two reasons why this is important, that doesn't really exist a flag for Earth in this flag system. That's the rational and unemotional side of it. And then, of course, flag, like you say, awaken a lot of emotions. In a time of climate crisis or conflicts and polarization, and that's the reason why people have tattooed it on their bodies, I guess. So I do believe that it's very loaded, but it also just represents planet Earth. You know, it just represents nothing other than the planet Earth, but it also, in the same time, represents all of the ideologies of planet Earth, all of religions of planet Earth. Just like you said with the Carl Sagan, and for those who don't know, Carl Sagan was a big astronomer back in the 70s, 80s, perhaps, and he did a famous speech that was called the Pale Blue Dot, where he talked about an image of Earth where the satellite is just like millions and millions of miles away, and he speaks about on that little blue dot, all of what we know exists. All of the wars that has been fought happen on that little dot. All of the ideologies, all of the people you love, all the people you hate exist there. So it is that. It is the overview effect that you mentioned. What astronauts has been telling people coming back from space travel, that they get a psychological shift and a reminder that Earth doesn't really have borders, you know, and we're in this together. We need to solve this together. And I guess that global solidarity is like the basis of the flag. Thank you.
Have you brought with you the flag physically?
To space?
No,
Yeah, I have some in my bag if you...
Now for the
Yeah.
guys that are working.
There's a question. I don't have any issues with more questions.
Hi. I have a question regarding the last, sort of like the last part of your answer when you said, you know, this global humanity.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's a symbol that a lot of people might not want to put out there.
Say again, a symbol of what?
Like that a lot of people might not want to put out there because it might go against their interests. And by people, I mean countries. Has this been a blocker for you?
Not really. It's a question of identity, I guess, where you could see yourself as, if I understand this question correctly, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but to me it's a question of identity, where you could be a country within the EU, for instance, but you're still a country on Earth, and you could be, I'm Swedish, but I'm also an Earthling in the same time, or like. For instance, if I identified as trans, I would have a flag for that as well, but I'm still Swedish. So it's did I get you correctly?
No.
Okay.
But I did not explain myself right, sorry.
Okay.
The concept of global solidarity nowadays, where there's so much conflict, is something that could be dangerous for some countries that are causing the conflict. So they might not be interested in a symbol that unites everyone.
Yeah.
They might not be interested in an emoji that might make me feel bad for a conflict because they're funding it, for example. Has this been a blocker?
Yeah, it has been a blocker a little bit, to be honest, because when institutions and let's say institutions that I've been in contact with, they look a lot on the emotional values and what it represents in that perspective, which is of course right. But you could also look at it as something totally unemotional, like you were asking about. It's just the flag of planet Earth, you know, and you are a country on planet Earth. But of course, it awakens feelings, like it does with me when I see the Swedish flag, because I just love Swedish being so progressive. It's a great democracy. We have free schools and healthcare. You know, I'm super proud of it. But at the same time, it's being so loaded. And I know a lot of Swedes that don't identify with the Swedish flag, even though they're kind of forced to because they're Swedish citizens. But you know, so yes, kind of. But then we need to remind those that it's just the flag of Earth. It doesn't mean, it means whatever it does for you, but it is only, in quotation marks, at the same time, a symbol of the territory of planet Earth, the astronomical body that's floating through space, which we can load with lots of different things. Perhaps we have a global dictatorship in 200 years. I don't know, but this will still be a flag for that, because whatever happens here, like Carl Sagan said, whatever happens here, happens here. And then it's just a flag of just as diversible or diverse and dynamic as the flag of a movement, for instance, because the movement change, the people change, but it's still a flag of that movement. So, yeah, I love flags. Yeah. Cool. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Oskar. I think it's a very nice closing to have a flag that remembers us that we have to take care of our planet if we want to have a human future.